Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about ser and estar. Ser and estar, wait, I didn't want it to do that. Both mean, let me get it down here. Okay, so ser and estar both mean to be. Both of these verbs mean to be, which is the same thing as is, am, or are. Okay, but they're not used interchangeably. You use ser in some instances and you're going to use estar in other instances. Okay, so we are going to talk about when you use ser and when you use estar. Okay, so this is when we're going to use ser. So we'll start with ser here. Okay, so it's used with the preposition de to indicate origin and possession. So one instance in which we use ser is origin, another is possession. And what we mean by origin is telling where somebody is from. So here, Salma y Gael son de Mexico. That's origin. And then possession, las pinturas son de Diego. That's possession. The paintings are Diego's. And el bolígrafo es de plata. So it's also used to tell what material something is made of. Material something is made of. Okay, so that is one. That's one. And here is 2, and this is 3. Oops. Okay, and all of these take day. So oftentimes when you see the preposition day, you're going to use ser, okay, because you can see day in here, day, 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 all right? It's also used with adjectives to express characteristics of the subject, such as size, shape, religion, nationality. So adjectives that tell size, color, shape, religion, and nationality, these all go with ser. And here's examples of that. Tomás es alto y delgado. Tomás es alto y delgado. Tomás is tall and thin. So that would be his size and his shape. Los jóvenes son católicos. That would be their religion. And somos mexicanos. That's our nationality. Okay. With the subject of a sentence when followed by a noun or a noun phrase that restates the subject. So, mi hermana es artista. So if you're using a noun to describe another noun or pronoun, you're going to use ser. So, if you were, when you use a noun or a pronoun to describe another noun or pronoun, you use ser. Okay. Mi hermana es artista, because what you've got going on right here is mi hermana. That's one noun. Actually, mi hermana is a noun, and artista is another noun. Okay, Leo y Ligia, that's it. Those are nouns, and mis padres are nouns. So if you have a noun or a pronoun being described by another noun or pronoun, that's going to be ser. You also use ser to express dates, days of the week, months, and seasons. Okay, es primavera, it's spring. es el 10 de octubre, it's October 10th. To tell time, that's also ser. Son las 5 de la tarde, es la 1 de la mañana. And with the preposition para, so if you see para, you're going to use ser, and that tells for whom or for what something is intended, or to express a deadline. Para quién es la calculadora, for whom is the calculator. La composición es para el viernes. So it goes with para, it goes with dates, days of the week. So maybe we can put little numbers in here. So this would be 4. Oops. Okay, then this would be 5. And this would be 6. And this would be 7. And then this would be 8. Okay, so let's see what else there is. Okay, a few more uses with ser. It's also used with impersonal expressions. Like when you're making blanket statements and there's not a specific subject, like it's basically when the object has become the subject. Es importante ir al laboratorio, going to lab is important, but who's it important to, we don't know. We're just making a generalized statement that it's important to go to lab. Here es fascinante estudiar la cultura hispana. So studying Hispanic culture is fascinating. To whom, we don't know. It's an impersonal expression. So whenever you have those, you're also going to want to use ser. Okay. To indicate where and when events take place. Where and when, whoops. Where and when events take place. And to me, this is going to be, well, I'll come back to it. So where and when an event takes place is going to be ser. And what you can do is if you can replace is with occurs or happening, then it's going to be, you're talking about an event. So la fiesta es en mi casa. The party's at my house, or the party is occurring or happening at my house. If I can say it like that, then it's an event. El concierto es a las 8. The concert is happening or occurring at 8, so we know it's an event, okay? A star is used to express states. So let's talk now about a star. Okay, so a star describes location, tells you where someone or something is located. So la librería está cerca, the bookstore is close by. Guadalajara está en México, Guadalajara is in Mexico, so these are locations. It's also used with adjectives that describe a state or condition of the subject. So it describes how the subject is at that given moment in time. So las chicas están contentas. Let me see if I can't make this a little better. Okay, las chicas están contentas. The girls are happy. Pedro está enfermo. So those are the states that they're in. It's how they're doing at the moment. So I like to use the question, how are you doing, to determine, how do you know, how are you doing? If you're, this is the question you can use to figure out if the adjective in your sentence is describing the subject's state or condition. Okay, so if you ask somebody, how are you doing? If your adjective in question can answer that correctly, then it's describing a state you're in. So for example, how are you doing? I'm happy, it can answer that, so therefore it's a state that somebody's in. How are you doing? I'm sick, it can answer that, so therefore it's a state that somebody's in. Okay, so here, descriptive adjectives, those that tell size, shape, color, etc., that are typically used with ser. So with descriptive adjectives or adjectives normally used with ser to indicate that something is exceptional or unusual, the structure is often used this way when complimenting someone, and in English is sometimes expressed with look. So if it's an adjective that is typically used with ser, you can use it with estar, but it means that what you're seeing is either is exceptional or unusual, and it translates as looks, not is. Okay, so for example here, Carlitos, tienes 8 años, estás muy grande. You look or you are so big. It doesn't mean that Carlitos, if he's 8, he's really big, but we're saying, wow, look how big you've gotten. Señora Rubiales, usted está muy elegante esta noche. So we've got esta noche. We're not trying to say that she's always elegant. It's not a description to describe her in general. We're saying tonight she looks elegant. Okay, so if you're trying to say, you're trying to pay a compliment, so I would probably say, if you are trying to pay someone a compliment, you can use estar with adjectives that normally get paired with ser. Okay, so for the compliment purposes, you're going to take those adjectives and stick them with ser. And here are some that change their meaning when used with ser and with estar. So I'm going to circle compliment here so that you remember that you can use these adjectives with estar when you're paying a compliment. And down here, some adjectives get used with both, they just change their meaning. So the adjective aburrido with ser is boring, but with estar means to be bored. So I could say la clase es aburrida y yo estoy muy aburrida. So if I want to say I personally am bored, I use estar. If I want to say something is boring, I use ser. Bonito. Ser with bonito means to be pretty. With estar, it's to look pretty. So I might say, for example, Selena Gomez es bonita. She's pretty. And then I might say, Jessica Biel, tú estás muy bonita en tu vestido de novia. So Jessica, you're very pretty in your wedding gown. So if I want to say you look really pretty with your hair done this way or wearing a dress, that's with estar. And feo and guapo fit that because they're synonyms and antonyms for that. So with ser, they both mean ugly and handsome. With estar, they look ugly and handsome. Listo means to be like smart or clever with ser. Eres muy listo, you're very smart. And with estar, it means to be ready. Like, ¿están listos para tomar el examen? Are you guys ready to take your test? Or ¿están listos para hacer la práctica? Are you ready to do the practice? Malo is to be bad or evil. With estar, it's to be sick. So, for example, I don't remember her name, but La Madre in Tangled. Ella es muy mala. She's a bad lady. But if I don't feel well, I say, uy, estoy muy mala hoy. Me siento muy mal. Rico is to be rich, like to have a lot of money with ser. But if your food tastes good, like mis brownies son muy ricos, son muy deliciosos, that's when you use estar. Están muy ricos, están muy deliciosos. Verde is to be green, like you can have an apple that's green, but you could also have a banana that's green, and that means it's not ripe. So when you use it with estar, mi banana está verde means it's not ripe. Vivo is to be smart. Eres muy vivo. You're smart, you're cunning. Estás vivo means you're alive.